The new dual trial is actually very cool. Under SR is the newest dual trial. Hello guys, and we'll go back to another cold episode. And all in all, it is a pretty interesting concept that has already been done before with the NR Festival, just slightly bumping up the power. Now, here's the thing. I actually think that this is a pretty cool dual trial. It's not for everyone, right? Mostly due to the fact that the NR Festival existed, and this isn't much different. But anytime we have the ability to play a lower power format in Master Duel, it is a unique idea, and for the most part, is pretty fun. It's why I like the Time Wizard stuff, as well as these as well. I just think it allows for a newer format to kind of exist, and for it to be explored a little bit more. And all in all, I actually did enjoy this event, and I have 3 different decks for you today, just because I do actually enjoy this format. So, the first one that I'm going to show you is my personal favorite. It's my fan favorite. It's my yummy rumbly in my tummy. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't know. Anyway, it's Dark Lord. I love Dark Lord. Dark Lord is extremely fun for me specifically. I played it back in Duel Links in, like, pre-2020s, which is crazy. But yeah, Dark Lord has always been a favorite of mine, and I just really enjoy the way that these cards work. The fact that they copy effects, the like recycling of resources, right? The way that they like utilize hand and grave shenanigans is very cool, and the fact that their boss monsters are, you know, just on field. They're main deck monsters instead of extra deck monsters, which is pretty cool. So there's that. That being said, how do they work? Basically, you revive them from the graveyard with Contact. And from there, each one of their effects has the ability, at least the bigger ones, I should say, have the ability to copy, by paying 1,000 life points, one of the Dark Lord spell traps in Grave. Now, notably, it copies the effect, right? Apply that target's effect, right? Which means you don't have to pay the cost. So, for example, Rebellion, Enchantment, and Sanctified all have the effect or all have the cost that requires you to send a Dark Lord to Grave from hand or face-up field, meaning they all require you to lose a little bit of advantage in order for you to activate powerful effects. Non-target removal, non-target snatch steal, and non-target negation, all of which are very powerful effects. Now, granted, with that being said, if you copy the effect, you just have to pay the life point effect, which is pretty solid. On top of that, we have Contact, which is a Reborn, and then we also have Banishment as well, which is just a generic search. It searches anything in the deck. It's very solid. Now, with that being said, why are we playing Dangers? Well, it turns out the Dark Lords are very bad. But if you can see a whole lot of them, and more specifically, specific ones, it's pretty useful, right? You kind of need to see Contact and a Dark Lord in Grave. And even with that being said, you still kind of need things like Banishment and some of the traps and what have you. So we're playing the Dangers as an additional form of draw spells, basically, alongside things like the Dark Worlds. So that's pretty much the concept of the idea, or of the deck. It's not very good, but it is fun. Yeah, that I don't really have anything else to tell you. Hopefully it works. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it really doesn't. It's a very high roll, but that's Dark Lords in general. Let's hop into the deck. Alrighty, so here we are going first. Just kidding, I lied to you. We're going second. I forgot what I was doing here. My opponent is playing DD. Whoa, crazy. I don't know what this deck does. I learned throughout the course of this duel some things. The thing is not Dark World. DD, Dark Contracts. DDD does a whole bunch of different things, right? So I don't know. Anyway, out comes Gilgamesh here. They're gonna go for the Marksman, detach in order to burn me for 1,000. To be fair, the burn damage almost matters in this game. I do say almost, but just keep that in mind. They're gonna pen summon here. Out comes this guy. He reborns here, and yeah, this is the payoff. High Wave King Caesar, absolutely insane card. Sure. They also make Oracle King Dark. Not bad. But yeah, that's going to be it. I draw Contact, the best draw we could have gotten. I'm going to search out here in order to grab up the Ix-Shell, and then I'm going to activate the effect of the Ix-Shell, and I draw into a second Contact. Now, notably, Contact does say you can only activate one per turn. However, this guy does negate activations. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. They negate Nessie. I have no idea why. This is a terrible negation. I think the idea is that they don't know how the dangers work. Yeah, you could just activate the dangers again. Now, to be fair, it does negate and destroy, but who cares? It's dangers. Like, if you see one danger, there's likely to be like 4 more, right? So, I don't know. This seems kind of silly, but sure, what have you. They negate the Nessie, and I'm like, that's fine. I'm going to go for the contact here to force out the negation. They allow that to resolve. I don't know why, but okay, sure. Now, notably, they cannot negate the copy effect of the Amdusk because of the way that Amdusk and Caesar are worded. Caesar negates the activations of card effects, whereas this is applying an effect at point of resolution. I don't really understand too much the complexity, but basically what's happening is that I'm not activating a card. I am, or more specifically, I'm not activating a card that is special summoning. I am activating a card that is copying an effect, but because I am copying the effect of contact, I can special summon. It's very stupid, it's very silly, but alas, it works out for me here. So we're going to special summon out at the Ixchel. To be fair, at point of resolution, I would be targeting, no, yeah, because I target first. Yeah, I don't know. It's stupid. Don't think about it. I grab Rebellion here because I want them to, it's something that's like useful discarded. They negate the second Nessie. Wild. Because now, guess what? I can go for Condemned. Now, why is Condemned useful? Well, because we can pitch one and grab Morningstar. And Morningstar has the ability to to tribute summon itself by utilizing Condemned and summon 3 guys. So yeah, here's a whole bunch of guys. Anyway, I'm going to mill some cards. Not the greatest of mills, all things considered. I'm going to grab Enchantment here. And realistically, what I should do is from this position, go combat, walk over the field, set 2, and pass. Right? And the reason for this is because Rebellion, Enchantment, alongside the Nastin and Ukobak is significantly stronger. But I'm like, I think I can kill him here. And to be fair, I actually can. I just misplayed. Actually, I don't think I kill them necessarily, but I put them very, very low and basically force them into nothing, right? So, alas. Anyway, I make Serperos here. We're going to go for the Serperos. I'm going to pitch Enchantment. That's just the wrong choice. I'm going to pop a card. They're going to grab up the guy. I'm going to go cool. I'm going to yoink here. Oh, that's why I pitched the Enchantment. So that I can go for the dark here. So I yoink their dark, and I'm like, cool, awesome. And then I pitch Shukinoko off of its own effect, which is kind of funny. I summon the Thunderbird. I walk over the field, and then I attempt to walk over this guy, which Dude, this guy has so many effects. I didn't have time to read it. I was just like, Dude, I'm not sitting here reading that. Sure, I'll just attack into it. Realistically, should have attacked into this guy. Who knows? Anyway, I set the Amble Whale. I've made a bunch of mistakes already at this point, but alas. Gain 15 during the end phase because I have 3 fairies. They burn for 1,000 during the standby phase, and they're going to activate their effect, and I'm going to go for the Rebellion here. Realistically, what I think I should have done is gone for... No. I think I did that correctly. Anyway, they attempt to negate and destroy, and I just negate with the Sanctified so that I can gain that additional life points, because now I'm back up to 73, which is pretty solid. It means I'm less likely to be OTK'd. Anyway, they're going to grab a Dark Contract, as well as search out a guy off of the Night Howl that they special summon. Out comes Gilgamesh, who's just, I don't know, here for a good time. They're going to go for the Night Howl to bring back the Dark, and then they are going to Synchro Shokan into Gust King Alexander. I have no idea what's going on here. They're going to tribute a card in order to banish my Tez. Kind of sucks. To be fair, they should have just banished the Amblo. I understand not, but also, no, I don't understand. Obviously, I think the banishing of Tez kind of makes sense, but I've already used its effects as hard ones per turn, and this effect right here is specifically discarding, whereas if you banish the Amblo, it just doesn't have anything. So there's that. I guess the reasoning behind that is like, oh, then I can get over both the Amblo and I don't know. I think they're just low on time at this point. I draw actually a pretty decent draw, all things considered here, but we're gonna go for the Nastin here because I have this contact set anyway. Into the Ixchel. Ixchel is going to pop the guy, and then we're gonna go into Contempt. Again, I do think this is just kind of a mistake. I'm not entirely certain, but I'm pretty sure. Here's why. I end up adding the Amdusk here, and I should have added Ixchel, because Ixchel actually does have the ability to be tribute summoned here. Condemned does require you to banish 2 tribute fodder, basically. So Amdusk just doesn't do anything. I go for the Droll comedy. Imagine playing Droll. It almost mattered. Anyway, we're just gonna pass here. Again, I've misplayed horribly with my resources. It's fine because of the way that this is, that this resolves, or I don't know if they're electing to resolve it this way. Anyway, they take 2k for some reason. I negate the Ragnarok here. They draw into Dark Contract. This was a draw, by the way. They didn't search this. They drew into Dark Contract. They did get 2 draws, but still, it's kind of funny. Again, I'm pretty certain that they are low on time at this point because of the way that they're playing, right? They end up walking over the Amblo. Amblo is going to special summon out the Condemned. They're going to walk over the Condemned, which then allows me to go for the Amblo here to banish this guy, or to pop this guy. So there's that. Fantastic. Now at this point, literally at this point, I can pass the turn and they die. They die. Well, I actually don't think that's the case. Because if they were to make it so that this card resolves first, I don't think they die. I don't know if they have the ability to do that, but they should be able to. Anyway, regardless. I draw Contact. That's pretty good. So I'm going to go for the Contact here. We're going to go for the Ixchel. We're going to go Ixchel effect for the Contact. We're going to bring back the Ukobak. Ukobak is going to send to the graveyard the Banishment, and then we're going to copy the Banishment to grab the Enchantment. And again, what I should do is just pass on that, because then I could go Tribute Enchantment for Enchantment, and then I'd have 2 enchantments, which is arguably better. Hard to say, but at the very least, it's something. But this time I'm going to grab the Ixchel and then just Tribute Summon it, so that I can walk over this guy, and then this guy's has, he's got an effect. Out comes Dark. Oh no, it's fine. I do at least gain the additional 15, which is pretty solid. So I'm going to pay another 1,000, and at this point, they are dead. They are dead. There's nothing that they can do here. They're going to take the extra 1,000 and then the extra 2,000. So it worked out. They died to their own effects, to be fair, but ooh, baby, that was I should not have won that in any capacity. All right, the next deck I have for you is Paleo. Yeah, like all of Paleo is playable, which is awesome. That being said, we don't have some of the more impactful cards like Rollback or Dimensional Barrier. Not that we would necessarily play Dimensional Barrier, but like we don't have it. We also don't have like Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon, which is also nice. But for the most part, most of the other Paleo stuff is playable and pretty solid. Not a lot of hand traps exist, which means that playing trap cards is just generally better, and because duels tend to go a little bit longer due to the fact that there's not nearly as many payoffs, there's a few, but not as many, you still have the ability to, like, set a bunch of cards and then play out the duel, which is pretty cool. So, all in all, it's pretty standard Paleo. I'm playing 55 cards. I could have bumped it up to 60, but for the most part, I actually don't want to play 60, right? It's not like I'm playing Grass, so I need 60. I'm playing 55 because these are the cards that I wanted to play, right? I'm playing all of the Paleos except for one of them, which is a terrible, no good, very bad card that no one actually plays. And then on top of that, we are also just playing a whole slew of trap cards. Threatening Roar, Accumulated Fortune, which draws cards, Needlebug Nest to mill, Storming Mirror Force for funny. We're also playing Rise to Full Height. I'm also playing 3 Heavy Storm Duster. I think there's a lot of, like, back row in this format, and so having back row removal, I think, is pretty solid. On top of that, we're playing Trap Trick, so that's why we're playing 2s of a whole bunch of things. And then 2 Dragon Maid Tidying, because we're also playing Laundry Dragon Maid. We're also playing Dracotail Horn, as well as 1 apiece of Flame and Sting. And the reason for this is because they can actually put themselves back into the deck to have this resource loop, and it also draws you a card by doing so. So as soon as you see 2 of them, you get the whole recycle engine, which is pretty solid, and it draws that additional card, which is also pretty solid. And then, of course, Horn also is a bounce, which is pretty nice as well. It's very similar to that of Compulse, just slightly better. However, it does require more or less 2 other more or less dead cards. To be fair, Flame is not, like, great, but it's not terrible. And then Sting's, like, okay, as well. So, there's that. As for the monsters, we're actually playing quite a few. We're playing Backjack, as well as... this card just allows us to get more of these traps. We're also playing Soldier Dragons, which just summons out a level 2 or lower dragon. If your opponent does a thing, you get to do a thing. It's pretty nice. We have 2 targets for this. We have Statue, or whatever his name is, Volmina, as well as Laundry. Now, Statue is only okay. It's mostly used for its pendulum effects so that you can actually just bounce a card on the field and then special summon this guy after using a Paleo. It's pretty nice, but it's not exceptional. However, it's also just like a guy that you can summon. It's not terrible. But then Laundry Dragon Maid is actually pretty solid. On summon, it mills 3. Pretty good. Then we're also playing Magicalitis Soul, which is a level 2 tuner that special summons itself if you activate a trap, or sorry, if you special summon a monster by your trap effect. So again, all of the Paleos, pretty solid. And then on top of that, during the battle phase of the opponent's turn, you can Synchro or Xyz summon, which is pretty nice as well, allowing us to go into things like Herald of Arclight, or Anomalocaris, or Ophidinia, or a myriad of different things. It's another thing that you can do kind of during the opponent's turn. It can also special summon itself from hand or grave, which is very nice. As for the extra deck, it's pretty simple. We're playing the Paleos, and then we're playing a whole bunch of other random stuff. So that's pretty much it. Let's hop onto the replay and show you how this deck performed. Alrighty, here we are going second, and that is a pretty solid hand, unless my opponent is playing something absolutely degenerate. Oh no. Let's see what we're up against. I draw another trap. Fantastic. I'm going to set 5, pass the turn. My opponent doesn't have anything. Awesome. Coolio. Fantastic. Love to see it. They're going to set a card. Cool. I'm going to activate my Ophidinia. They're going to activate their Dynamicious. I'm like, that's fine. Away goes the Leoncolia. I'm like, sure. It's Torrential Comedy. I grab Morella. Sweet. I'll set it. Pass the turn. I don't really have anything here, so yeah, I'll just wait. They set a card. I activate my Morella, which resolves. They didn't want to chain a Paleo. I don't know what's going on there, but okay, no Paleo. Coolio. I sent a Leoncolia here. I'm just going to pass the turn. I'm not going to set the Swarming Mirror Force because I'd rather have something else to set, right? However, Apopus. Oh, it's a man. That's crazy. They're going to set their Apopus, the Swamp Deity, and out comes my Magicalitis Soul from the hand. Now, notably, if it's summoned from hand, it doesn't actually banish itself. So that's pretty cool. They're going to go to combat during the battle phase. I'm going to Xyz summon, and I'm going to Xyz summon into Ophidinia. For some reason, they still elect to attack, so during damage calc, I just boost him with the Rise to Full Height so that I can deal a whole bunch of damage. It's not like I need the necessary, or it's not like I need the defensive stats of the Ophidinia. Anyway, I'm going to detach the Magicalitis Soul. They're going to go for the Apopus, and I'm like, okay, here's Leoncolia. Sure. And then I get to go Accumulated Fortune. It's chaining 4. Fantastic. I'm going to go Accumulated. They're going to go for it. The Apopus. Sure. Happens. I'm going to go for the Dynamicious to banish one of the other ones. And then they're going to go for the third Apopus. Holy crap. Okay, sure. Yeah, you got all of them. That's crazy. They're going to negate everything on my field and then summon out 2 other guys that don't matter. So yeah, no Accumulated Fortune. That's fine. I do get the Leoncolia, which is the important part here. So there's that. They do negate my Ophidinia as well. Not really that big of a deal due to the fact that I can go for the Magicalitis, which gets negated by Gravedigger. However, Dynamicious, Chain of Paleo. So cool. Yeah, out comes a Paleo here. They negate Ow. And no Magicalitis. That's fine, because guess what? I'm going to make Centuria, which is just a guy that can't be destroyed. They're going to go and Canadia it. I'm like, that's fine. They actually do chain a Paleo this time. Wow, that's crazy. Who would have guessed? But alas, this guy like can't be destroyed as long as it has material, or it can't be destroyed by combat, right? So, I'm like, all right, sure. I don't know what they're necessarily going to be making. I don't know if there's like a rank 6 that they're going to make, or what have you. They just go combat. I'm like, okay, sure. You have to target this guy. You got to target him. Cool. Anyway, can't be destroyed by battle. So cool. That's actually a very good draw, even though it may not seem like it. We're gonna go for the Ophidinia here. We're gonna search out the Leoncolia. And I'm just going to attempt combat here. I'm going to walk over the Paleo. Now, to be fair, what I should have done is activated the Leoncolia to immediately put back the Rise to Full Height so that I could chain my own Paleo, which is engraved now, the Morella. That's a bit of a mistake on my part. No, that's it. I'm just dumb, right? Anyway, regardless, it would have allowed them to not have their own Paleo be chainable here. They're going to go for it, the Olenoids. I'm like, that's fine. I'm going to chain my own Soldier Dragons, not a Paleo engrave. Why? Because Soldier Dragons is more impactful. So, out comes a second Soldier Dragon. This is why it's so important. It is a once per turn. However, it is not a hard once per turn. So you can summon all of your Soldier Dragons from the deck, and then they're out of the deck, and you don't have to use them anymore. But then also, you get to summon an additional guy. If you have that additional target, you get to summon it. So, yeah, out comes Laundry. Fantastic. They're going to go for the Circuit. I'm like, sure. Activate Mill. comedy. We mill a another rise, so we have 2 rises, and the 3rd in rotation as well, due to the Leancolia. My opponent's going to go to combat. I'm going to go, up, 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 up. Stop right there, criminal scum. You got to target this guy, which they do, and walk over with Circuit, which is fine. You're going to switch everything to defense. Coolio. At this point, their board is full, so I could use my effects. However, my board is also full. I'm going to activate go into the Onebimaru. I'm going to deal with the back row and Chain of Paleo. At this point, the game is really good for me. So, yeah, we pop their Apopus, which, for some reason, they're also not playing the embodiment for some reason. I don't know why you wouldn't just play an embodiment. Maybe they drew it. No, they didn't. I know what they have, right? I'm going to attempt to pop this, and then in chain, I'm going to activate the Leancolia so that I chain a Paleo and they don't. And then I'm going to chain another Paleo to put a card face down so that I can chain a Paleo and they don't. I forgot and decided to activate my effect of the Anomalocaris before activating the effects of my trap cards. Oops, it's fine. It worked out. It's all good. And last but not least, it's Labyrinth, aka Fiend Trap Slop. Hooray! This is actually a very fun deck. Getting the URs changes, not URs, the SRs changes drastically the way that this deck plays in regards to the way that it plays in like an R format, which I think is at least a little bit more interesting. First and foremost, you get access to Trap Trick. Insane card. This card is very, very useful in trap-centric decks, obviously. But on top of that, it is also just... Well, it's not the only card, I should say. It facilitates a whole bunch of other things, right? Things like Ghastly Glitch, which is a really powerful card if you control a Fiend. Hey, look at that. We have a whole bunch of Fiends. We also have things like Ice Dragon's Prison, Heavy Storm Duster, Storming Mirror Force, etc. We're also playing things like the Draco Tail cards, which we were previously playing, as well as Dogmatic Punishment. And we have better targets for the Dogmatic Punishment, notably Malong and the Wind Pegasus, which are both pretty solid. As for the monsters, we also get access to Ariana and Ariane, both of which are very strong. So yeah, lots of very new stuff. Not new stuff, but like very powerful stuff that isn't available in the NR. And it makes the deck function very differently. Even though it's still more or less lab without, you know, any of the actual welcome traps, it is still a unique deck in comparison to that of its NR brother, which I think is a pretty cool change at the very least, right? So there's that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just lab. Cool. Alrighty, so here we are once again going second, and ooh baby, this hand is crazy. It is crazy. My opponent's going to start off here with the pot of extract. I'm like, okay, this could be anything, to be fair. And it's man. It's manless man. It's manless man, again. However, this time it's not paleo, it's actually man. So that's interesting. Out comes the circuit. I'm like, sure. There's literally nothing I can do here. There's like maybe something I can do here. So I go for the Stovey Torby. If I hit if I hit Horn, that's like the one thing that I could do here. So I check the top of the deck and it's nothing. So I'm just like, okay, go for it. Out comes Temple of the Kings. They're going to then go for the Apopus here. They're going to special summon it in order to go for the second Apopus. And then set 2 more. Awesome, fantastic. I'm going to go for the backtrack so that at the very least I can set this IDP because I want to draw into what I believe is Trap Trick here. I lied, it's Soul Scissor. I'm going to normal summon the Soul Scissor. The reason I wanted to draw this is because it's a Fiend monster, so that I can actually activate the Fair Welcome here. So, yeah, I just pop a card, and then I get a set Heavy Storm Duster as well. Now, this triggers 2 things. It triggers my Stovey Torby in Grave, but since I activated a Trap card, I get to go for the Lab Archfiend. So, Lab Archfiend is going to special summon itself as well as the Stovey Torby, and then Lab Archfiend is going to set a Storming. So, that's pretty cool. They're going to activate their effect of the Wall of Disruption, which I chain, stupidly thinking that at this point I can actually, you know, cancel the attack, but that's not true. I chain to grab the Merciless Scorpion, which is fine. And then I chain again, and I'm like, oh, right. That's not how this works. But I do get Lab, which is pretty solid. From here, we are going to go into the Dark, and then just set a card, and pass the turn. They're going to go for the Apopus here to grab up another Apopus. So these two are Apopai. And then they go for double Cyclone, and they actually elect to take out the field spell. Now, while I don't necessarily disagree with that, they do know where Heavy Storm Duster is, and why would you not remove the Heavy Storm Duster? You don't have access to the fusion monster. So why would you not remove the card that's about to absolutely ruin your life? And the answer is because my opponent did. He's dumb. I don't know what else to tell you. They attack into my Storming Mirror Force. That was known. Granted, what else are they going to do? Out comes the Stovey, and yeah, they're going to set another card. You gotta wonder what that is, and pass the turn. Coolio. I draw Stovey, and then I'm just going to go combat. We're going to walk over the Apopus here, and then they're going to activate the effect. They do actually play the Embodiment this time. Let's go. Shout out to my opponent for actually playing the Embodiment. Let's go. And then during the end phase, not during the main phase, because I don't want to be interacted with Apophis and stuff like that, we're going to set the Fair Welcome. Out comes their own Apophis. They're going to set their own Swamp Deity, and I'm like, that's fine. Sure. Let's see what my opponent does. Yes, out comes this guy. Sure. They're going to go combat. In combat, I'm going to go for the punishment here. We're going to send the Wind Adagnister. They're going to then pop a card. I'm going to go for the Stovey here as well. And they're going to go for, I don't know, Azure Rune. I don't know what we're doing with this, but sure. They do pop the Fair Welcome, which kind of sucks, but alas, what can you do? Now, to be fair, I could have popped this guy instead. Yeah, that's what I should have done. Anyway. But that's fine, because the Wind Pegasus triggers, which shuffles away one of their set cards. And then they're going to go and walk over my Fiend, which then gives me Soul Scissors, which was engraved, which now allows me to pop their Anubis. It all worked out in the end, probably. Yeah, don't think about it. I draw a Trap Trick, which is not a bad draw. We're just immediately going to go to combat here so that we can walk over the field. They do actually pop my Dark, which is great, because now we can search out the Backjack. Hooray. We're going to walk in as well for 25. And then I'm going to normal summon Backjack and realize I activated Dogmatica Punishment last turn. Whoops. I can't go into the extra deck. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. It's fine. We set the Trap Trick and then just pass the turn. They're going to special summon back their Anubis. Sure. They're going to go combat. No, I'm going to activate the Trap Trick. I'm going to go for Horn here so that I can Horn and bounce the guy. Pretty solid. Away he goes. I also had Sting engraved, so that's why we did that as well. We draw into Trap Trick. Sure, why not? Do you know what's funny? Off of this Backjack that I inevitably send to the graveyard, I revealed the third Trap Trick. And do you know what's funny about that? It was the only trap. I hate it here. Anyway, I pitched the Storming Mirror Force to pop a card, and we're going to go for the Backjack as well. They're going to chain the Anguish Pattern. Now, notably, this is still a trap card, so it's still going to die, unlike some of the other trap cards, or trap monsters. So, yeah, we pop that, and then I just go combat. This is lethal on board, so they have to do something. And for some reason, they still didn't activate their Embodiment of Apopus, and they instead elected to go for the Signs of Tistina, which special summons, I attack, it dies, both of them die, and then I deal, you know, a tiny bit of damage. I set one, pass the turn. Cool. They're going to shuffle 2 away in order to go for it again, this guy, and the Embodiment. Sure. They're going to attempt to go to combat. I'm going to go for Trap Trick. I don't know why they attack in this order. This is maybe the worst order they could have attacked in. What are we doing here? Why would you not have attacked into the Nightmare Phoenix with the big guy that can actually get over the Nightmare Phoenix, and then use Embodiment to attack over Soul Scissors? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I think they're just stupid. I don't know what to tell you. It's fine. We pop the Anubis and we go for the Backjack here so that we can... sorry, we're also going to reborn the Stovey. Coolio. Backjack here is going to rearrange the top of the deck. The reason we send the Backjack here off of the Ghastly glitch is because, again, the top of my deck was Trap Trick, and I wanted to change that. So there's that. They also have just given up at this point, but alas. I forget what this was. Oh, it was Sting. It was Sting, a useless card. To be fair, it's not useless because they do have Anubis engraved, so there's that. I draw Coup Clock. It doesn't matter. Combat. Good game. Yay. All right, we're back. And honestly, this event I have found to be at least a little bit more interesting than some of the other dual trials. Like, for example, that burn one where everyone starts out with 26 life points. Not all that interesting. That being said, at least there is something unique with this one. It's not too unique, it's not too interesting, but it is very similar to that of the NR events, and it's just slightly higher power level with slightly more to do, and I think that is a little bit more interesting. It's not fully enough to warrant a full festival, at least in my mind, but alas, not everyone feels the same, is what I should say. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is pretty cool. I think it's a great event, and it's a nice duel trial. It's one of the few that I've actually enjoyed. So there you go. Man, I love duel trials. I think that they are such a great inclusion with festivals, right? Like having the ability to have duel trials alongside festivals and all of that jazz is very nice. And I love all of these like experimental ideas, right? Because again, I don't think this would work as a full festival. I think it'd get boring pretty quickly, especially due to the fact that the NR stuff exists, and getting this instead of NR as a full festival would be very frustrating, right? That being said, it's a cool like gimmick, right? It's something cool to see every once in a while. And for the most part, you still have the ability to make a whole bunch of different decks and a whole bunch of different strategies. Like, for example, I was testing Fluffle, because that's a thing that you can play. There's a bunch of other stuff like that. So, very cool event. Anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.